Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming with more Hearts of Iron 4 La Résistance, playing as the French Empire. The big blue blob, as it were. Something I just realized as I start a new recording session is I actually was still playing this game on the preview build for La Résistance, which is a bit of an amateur mistake on my end, but I have since switched over to 1.9.0, so if there are any differences, I'm about to find them, but I don't think there are. Nothing really significant. I do know that a beta patch is currently available for the game, but there's no way in heck that I'm going to risk my my Iron Man game on that. It just ain't gonna happen. Anyway, so we did finish off the Axis last week, and we are still fighting against Japan, but there's not any really viable way of me getting over here to beat them up. I guess we could send some troops down here in preparation to go and fight Siam, possibly get them out of here. Maybe push the Japanese back in the French East Indies? That's not a bad idea. Do I feel like I have any excess troops? I probably do. Against the Soviets, though? I don't know. The question now is, when do I want to kill the Soviets? And I may want to wait on this a little bit. Mainly because I am fairly confident we are about to have some very serious issues with resistance. All this territory that we took over is looking pretty bad right now. Pretty darn bad. Like, look at this right here. An actual uprising. There's serious problems. Lots of division attrition. Local supplies go down, etc., etc. So we need to put this down. And that's going to probably end up taking a lot of my manpower. One thing we could probably do if we want to improve our situation a little bit is start really focusing more on these interwar armored cars. I may want to upgrade these, and I think I actually did not. I did not start working on those last week. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but all right, sure, no problem. Yeah, using those could be helpful. It would allow us to suppress them a little bit more efficiently, but yeah, we're going to start bleeding loads and loads of manpower in just a little bit, so I think I will go ahead and send some troops off in the direction of Siam, just so we can, you know, have them stop pushing against me over here. I don't like it much. We'll do something like this. Send you guys on an offensive line. Sure, this seems okay. Just get down there and see what you can do. We also have a lot of air experience and land army experience, and I should probably do something with that, but what? Let's see, it is 1942. It's going to be a couple more years before I'm going to get any new planes. I guess we could go for another variant of our air fighters, or we could save some of this and try working on some air doctrines soon. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Right now we're working on colonial industry, which should end up getting me a few more factories. It looks like 8. 8 factories, civilian factories, could be helpful. Then we go down military, and it looks like in 7 states we'll get 2 factories each. So that's 14 more military factories there. Getting the research slot would be good. Going for global integration to get some additional resources could be good. Although one easy solution to our resource problem is just to swap away from free trade. That's also fine. But I kind of need to get things like extensive conscription moved up to service by requirement so we can have plenty more of our manpower. Brain, you need to work. I'm a little distracted at the moment. At the time that I am recording this, I could very well be quarantined. I'm not even kidding. These things do apparently happen. It's been a really crazy week out here. No sicknesses in my local area that I know of, but it doesn't stop people from closing down all the schools. As the time I'm talking about some of this, and like some of the local colleges have actually closed down classes, or they've moved everything online. It's really kind of nuts, dude. Anyway, what do we want to do? Do I want to use my political power to... I can't go to the next conscription law because we don't have anyone strong enough. Well, I take that back. If we got more war support, we actually could. What I could do is spend some of my political power right now just to go ahead and start getting some war support. Weekly war support for 90 days. Where the heck did I put my calculator? Calculator? I'm actually confused. Where did I put the thing? I think my wife stole my calculator. All right, fine. Brain math is what we're going to do. Let's see. That's going to be at least, I think, 12, not quite 13%. Weekly war supports over the next 90 days. That will not get me to the 60% that I would need in order to go for the next level. This is still a good thing for me to do, because I would like some mobilization speed, but the question is it better for me to just swap away from the export focus? You know, as much as I would like to save my factories, and we have lost quite a few in the process from just trade, I'm questioning whether or not that's a good idea. Maybe it is. Yeah, let's swap out of that. The reason I'm swapping out of that is now we shouldn't need to trade for anywhere near as much stuff. So you can go ahead and pull a lot of this back. That should free up a load of civilian factories, so we will be able to build up our forts and so on along the border of the Soviet Union a lot faster and try to be a little bit more aggressive in this war. That said, again, I am very concerned about manpower, so we'll see what happens there. How are we doing in terms of operatives? We still, unfortunately, have this whole resistance contacts thing, and I really wish I could just cancel this. Totally pointless. One fun detail, by the way. So the Socialist Republic of Germany exists. I was wondering about that, because if you look at the national focus tree down over... Well, let's zoom out here. Down over here, you normally would be able to disunite Germany, but it says it cannot exist. It has to have capitulated. And I was like, what the heck happened there? So it does exist, and I found it. It's down here. There it is. There are the Germans. They've been banished to the Gilbert Islands. They actually have a little bit of territory in Central America as well. British Honduras and Jamaica. The Germans own Jamaica. Yep, that's a thing. Let's go for the research slot, by the way. I'm not going to worry about getting a war goal against the Soviet Union quite yet. It's going to be a little while before I can do much of anything against them. But still, you guys get the point. It's just kind of weird. Kind of weird how that turned out, ain't it? Free dockyards. Let's go to our Navy real quick. I don't think that these guys are actually set to repair. And I definitely do not want them doing any more convoy raiding. We can turn this off. Automatic split is allowed, but never repair. That should not be a thing. So you guys need to go and repair for a bit. And we should make sure that we have plenty of factories set aside so that we can repair all of our Navy. There we go. Improved anti-tank upgrades. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and start improving our armored cars, because I think that we could use those to our advantage. We have a bunch of new units that have been trained up. These are... What was it again? Infantry. These are 40 combat with infantry, right? I believe that's correct. So what do we want to do with you? We will add all of you to this. For now. Actually, wait. 1, 2, 3. Send you guys to green. That should be fine. And I don't happen to have any more. I do have some defensive infantry. Let's make sure these guys get swapped over. And actually, 1, 2 go here. That'll have to do for the moment. Just want to make sure that we have our armies exactly where I intend them to be. So, what should I do with my army experience? We could go for an upgrade to our tanks. That said, we are almost able to get the next variant, so I'm not especially thrilled about wasting my army experience on that. So we should try getting some more template upgrades. Maybe it's time to go for a 40 combat with medium tanks. Actually, at the same time, let's go ahead and grab our support artillery and maybe signal companies here. Just make these a little bit better. And then I'm going to duplicate. Let's go ahead and start making some 40 combat with medium tanks. Because, obviously, I like these. I like medium 40 with tanks a lot. They're very good at focusing a lot of firepower in one area and going pew-pew-pew-pew-pew-pew-pew. Let's see. I don't have mechanized currently available, so let's make sure we have a little bit of organization. I mean, I don't need to go crazy on this. I could toss in some more tank and stuff if I wanted to. Could also possibly toss on some additional self-propelled artillery, but that would be a little awkward. Let's get a medium tank there and another medium tank right here, and that's 40 combat with, but that's not quite enough organization for me. I do like to shoot for 30. It's not the end-all, be-all, but this is pretty decent. So this is 40 combat with. It's going to have a lot more breakthrough value. Really good soft attack. This is just a solid unit. Very heavy weight and supply usage, sure, but otherwise pretty good. Let's go for the Eagle, I guess. I don't know. There we go. All right, how are we doing in terms of production for our tanks? We have not a lot. Not a lot currently available. I'm guessing that's going to get a lot better once we have dealt with some of the occupied territories, which right now I'm looking at places like Albania, and I'm like, why the crud do you have 64%? But there you go. A lot of them are going down, right? This is going away. It just needs to go a little faster. It would help if I had more stability, but the fact that I have been at war for a very long time is part of the problem. Military access from the United States. You know what? I accept. If that helps you to attack the Japanese anytime sooner, so much the better. Let's go to our fighters and go ahead and spend some of this air experience. I want to go ahead and do this. It's going to be at least a couple more years before we have anything better. So some more weapons, maybe a little bit of range, and some reliability would be fine. That's a little bit much for me. I do like having some extra range, just because it means I don't have to build quite as many air bases to still be effective. We have better coverage overall if we do this, so let's just go ahead and do that. Fighter version C. And there we go. I have heard a rumor that either in this patch, and I just haven't been paying attention, or in the beta patch, planes are getting slightly reworked. This may already be the case, but planes apparently are getting slightly reworked so that you have less fighters able to fight in an air zone at a time. So higher quality fighters are more important than ever before. It's not just a matter of quantity. Now it's very much a game of quality. So if I can please get these guys back in 20 days... Gosh, dang, this is so annoying. If I can please get these guys back in 20 days, we can actually try using our spies to put down some of the resistance and get some of our manpower back. But once we have a bit of compliance, I think we're going to be fine. It's going to take me a little while to have that compliance, though. Just a little bit. We may not be able to go to war with the Soviets for like another year, maybe even 2. The biggest deal right now is to not run out of manpower and equipment if at all possible, because then I'm going to see a huge spike in resistance. Huge spike. Now, one thing I'm curious about is collaboration governments, because I've been told that I am misunderstanding how they work, and that I should have released a lot of collaboration governments in Africa. I've also heard that I was right not to do so, and we should not be releasing subjects in Africa, and collaboration governments aren't even worth it. I've been trying to figure this out, and I'm not entirely confident on the equation. Again, where the crud is my calculator? I dropped it! Okay, found it! Okay, there's my calculator. Needed this thing because I don't want to have to do all the math in my head. So, per the Hearts of Iron 4 wiki, which is usually pretty reliable for me, the equation as far as like how many factories you get, for example, out of a occupied territory is, I believe it was 100% minus minus 75% plus 65% multiplied by your compliance. I assume also a percentage there. So let's take the example of let's say Belgium. Belgium right here with 58% compliance. So I'm going to do 100% minus 75% is 25%. Then add on 0.65 times 0.58. Add that together, and it looks like I should be getting 62.7% of their factories. But for some reason, I'm getting 10% more than that, which is confusing to me. It's almost exactly 10% right there, almost. So I'm messing up the calculation somewhere, or maybe from a national focus, we got like an extra 10% from occupied territories and I didn't even notice. Here's the thing, though, right? So when you release a collaborative government, you get 75% of their factories. They are better than most puppets, but you have to have 80% compliance to release them, right? But what I'm seeing here, at 58% compliance, we have 72% plus 79% of their resources. So I'm inclined to think that at 80% we'd be above that 75%. So really, why? Why release them? It doesn't seem to me that you actually get more factories out of the arrangement, unless there's something else that I am missing. Which, unfortunately, by the time that you guys respond to this, I probably already have finished with my recording session, which means I'm not going to get to see what's going on, and people will yell at me, and blah, blah, blah. It's all really nothing new to me at this point. Let's go ahead and put down some resistance in a couple of key areas. I'm thinking we're actually going to put some down here in Germany, because I anticipate that the high population centers here are going to become a problem for me. So let's go ahead and put some down here. Anyway, I think the main advantage of releasing a collaborative government is I don't have to spend any garrison at all. But by the time you get to a pretty high amount, I mean, depending on the size of the state, it doesn't feel like the garrisons are that bad. And it could very well be that I end up getting more manpower than I'm using. Case in point, Algeria. Algeria is taking up only 731 men in order to control them, but we get 350,000 manpower from them. So again, why would I release a collaborative state? I don't understand it, and it bothers me because it makes me think that I'm making myself into an idiot on the internet, and God forbid you make a mistake on the internets, especially if you try to set yourself up as any sort of an authority figure for guides on stuff like Hearts of Iron 4 and any sort of Paradox game in general. Are we not justifying a war goal against these guys? We should be. Let's go ahead and start doing that now. Like, God forbid that happens. But here we are, and I'm pretty confident I'm making a mistake. I just, for the life of me, don't know what it is. Because I'm pretty sure I just did the math there. And I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest, hey, look at this, by the way. Algeria, 78%, so just shy. Well, actually, almost exactly the necessary amount in order to get a collaborative state. But we get 100% of their factories. So really, why, and again, why? I mean, we can look at some of this. Let's take a look at a collaboration government, right? So we cannot declare war. They can't do a bunch of different things. Subject to manpower requirement. I don't know what that means. Does that mean they give me 100% of their manpower? It might. But we only get 75% of their factories. So again, why? With the case of something like Algeria, I already get 100% of their manpower. Or as much as they're able to give me anyway. I get 100% of the factories and 100% of their resources. What could I possibly gain? And that's where I get confused, because there's no way that Paradox adds in a feature that has no practical usage. There's no way. So I'm clearly an idiot. Just can't figure it out. Cannot figure it out for the life of me. Well, we still have some manpower, which is a good sign. Not completely out of the woods at this point, but we're doing okay. How are we doing on armored cars? We got 658. What we should do is go ahead and start putting together an armored division. So let's take a look at this and see just how much better armored cars are, because they're obviously a lot more expensive than cavalry. We have some military police and stuff, but if we just replaced one cavalry, for example, I think it's a mobile battalion. Yes, armored cars. So we actually use less manpower, but get more suppression. So strictly speaking, from a suppression per manpower equation or ratio, we do a lot better with armored cars. They also have some armor value and so on. That's nice. Probably not too relevant. The problem is it costs me a fair bit of armor cars to do this. But I mean, if we want to go for, let's say, the full 9 yards and just do all armored cars, we're looking at 3.5 more suppression value than we have with horses, and we save 2,500 manpower per garrison division. The only downside is it costs me it costs me 300 armor cars each, which is very expensive. I'm going to go ahead and do this and save this out as a template. We can't use this in places like, let's say, Yugoslavia, because that's going to cost me way too many garrisons. But we can do this, at least in some small places like Albania, maybe, where it doesn't have to have a lot of garrisons. I'm hoping. So let's go ahead and change your icon. We'll make you into, I guess, is there like a shield icon or something? How about this? Little suppression icons. These are the ones we use for suppression purposes. Boom, done. Okay. So now I should be able to go to my occupied territories. Albania does require 0.66 divisions, but that means it should cost me less than 300 of our armored cars. So if I swap you out now, this should cost me 160 armored cars. But notice the number of garrisons required went down because we have better suppression value. So I should be able to do a lot better with this. We have now supplied the cars. So overall, they are better suppressed and we saved a little bit of manpower. Yeah, this works for me. This works for me just fine. If we can produce enough of these armored cars, I think we'll be all right. Now, the big downside is I think we're losing armored cars because they're fighting in some areas against rebels who are trying to attack me, and I'm taking 30% attrition. So that certainly is going to hurt until we get a bit more civilian compliance, but still hurts a little bit. Now, in a place like Albania, what if we don't care about compliance right now? We'd rather swap over to something like, let's say, the local police force, which does not get me as much compliance gain, but it reduces the target resistance value and also means I need less garrison. So we can do this, so I'll lose less to that 30%, and the resistance target goes down, which means this should be dropping a little bit faster. It's right now at 58%. Does it say what the target is right now? I don't see evidence of what exactly that is, but there we go. Compliance is, I think, still going up. Resistance decay, 0.1. We got a research slot. That's excellent. Hang on, hold the thought. I'll come back to this in a second. Let's go for let's go for some more construction, repair things faster, and let's go for military factories. I don't need the resource production at the moment. We have more factories. What should we work on? What do we need? We need nothing at the moment. So let's just focus probably on more armored cars. It's costing me a lot of steel, but I have steel to go, so that's fine. I just want to make sure we can preserve our manpower, because we're kind of out now. And that's when we're going to start running into a lot of problems. Where the heck did you come from? If I delete you, do I get more manpower? Probably not, but I'm not going to keep you. He's just going to get in my way, let's be honest. He's not worth anything to me. Anyway. So, yes. So, it should be going down a fair bit. So, where else can I apply this in a way that makes sense? So, like, applying this to Greece is a bad idea, because I don't have enough. I may want to do something like the military governor or the secret police, which would certainly shut this down a lot, but it needs more garrison. If I do local police force, again, less compliance gain, but also less garrisons required, which means I can save some manpower. We'll probably do the same thing here. I don't want to be too harsh on them, because I ultimately am looking to get a lot of compliance so that they work for me. But in the meantime, I definitely need to reduce the amount of garrison we're using, because we're spending way too much of our manpower on this. The Danish Civil Union, we can do this temporarily, but once they get to a high enough compliance value, or at least a low enough resistance value, we need to swap these guys around. Let's go ahead and do some stuff here with some armored cars in these areas. That should help, again, with suppression and saving just a teeny bit of manpower. Can't afford too much at the moment. Kingdom of Bohemia, Germany is going to cost me an absolute freaking ton. But some of these guys don't have too much resistance because we conquered them early enough that we had enough time to deal with them, so we're okay there. We'll keep going on civilian oversight there. But overall, this is a little bit better, and it means I have a little bit more manpower to go around and keep these guys under control until it can tick down to such a level that I'm no longer in any danger. Yeah, so we basically just need to sit tight for a little bit. Going to war immediately with the Soviet Union is probably a very, 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 very bad idea. Being patient, however, seems like a very, very, very good idea. We need to swap some of these guys around into the field marshals that make sense. Because we have currently got a bit of a mix match of a lot of troops. So, for example, let's swap around a couple guys over here and replace them over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You go here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you don't have any more, so let's move you elsewhere. I guess we'll move you here for now. So let's put you over here. You under the defensive field marshal, then you under the offensive field marshal. Why you lost your general, I don't think I fully understand, but there you go. Yeah, so this is now all offensively based, which makes sense to me. We've got a lot of defensive units over here. We should definitely be doing a lot of swapping. This, however, is all offensive, for example. So let's move you over here. And I'll move you over here. There we go. Wow, 8 attack value on that guy? He's a great leader. I like him a lot. Just saying, there's things we can be doing to be a little bit more efficient, and we should do that while we have a breather. I'm going to continue letting the game run because I want to make sure we are not wasting a ton of time, but there we go. So, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, not you. All of you, though, will need to go somewhere else. Let's just move you here for now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go here. Okay. I think that might be it. As far as offensive units being where I don't want them. Seems that way. Alright. So for now, let's bring you over there. Okay. Hey, Green, have you arrived? No, wait. You're the Green I was looking for. There you are. Can you go? Wait, did Siam not get called in on this? Oh, weird. Siam is a part of the faction with Japan, but they have not been called into this war. Oh. Well, given that that is the case, let's actually go ahead and get down here to the Indies. I'm going to take, let's say, half of you and move you down here. We're going to try to slow their advance a little bit. There we go. Let's not have everyone set to aggressive, because that's how you die. What other units did we get? We got a few. More defensive units. Okay, I'll move you here for now. I'm not too sure what I want to do with these guys yet. We are fabricating on Switzerland. That's going to take me a little while, though. Let's just go ahead and get some other offensive units over here around Switzerland. We got some time. Now that I know I'm not going to go to war against the Soviets immediately, we got a little time. I do want to spy on the Soviets and try to prepare a collaboration government. And now that we have 50% spy network, we can do that. It's a question of, do I do that now, or do I try to burn this down a little bit more first? So it's going to take a very long time to do a collaboration government, which is part of the problem. But it's worth it for a couple of reasons. If we successfully do this, we increase collaboration of the Soviet Union by 20% when we do conquer them. Which means I don't have nearly as much downtime trying to deal with the resistance to occupation. And again, let's just remind ourselves, at 20% right here, this is 20% here, yes, we are spending 37,000, we would get 26,000 back, but in some cases, like let's say Poland at 35%, it's only cost me 11,000 manpower, but we're getting 128 back. So I'm guessing at 25%-ish collaboration with the Russians, we would probably get more manpower than we spend. So doing at least one level of collaboration government makes a lot of sense to me. Also, it doesn't say this here, but it reduces their surrender limit, which means it should be slightly easier, I'm not going to join your faction, slightly easier to make them capitulate in time. So the sooner we start this, the better. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. Let's commence when ready. I could set this to automatically repeat, but let's not do that right now. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this, and yes, it means we're not burning down our resistance quite as quickly as we were before, but that's probably fine. I just really want to make sure that we get these guys down. Occupied territories, we should probably go to the Germans and actually just go ahead and do the local police force here as well. Save myself a bit more manpower, and also just kind of reduce their current target, because they were going up, and I want them to go down, not up. We'll try to build up some compliance. I don't know what the base value is of compliance here. Like, I know you get more for doing civilian oversight, or at least you don't penalize it, but what's the base rate? And this is where I would expect, like, hovering my mouse over there would tell me, but it doesn't. Like, the tooltip isn't quite what I would expect it to be, given the situation. Maintenance companies have been researched. Good. Let's, do we want to continue doing that? Let's go for more factory output and stuff. Let's go for some more industry. We are working on that armored car upgrade. That's going to be good. Non-aggression pact with Mongolia. Don't really see the point. We are almost done repairing everything, believe it or not. Okay. Well, what can I make? What would I want? We're making a fair number of destroyers. We have some cruiser hulls. We're doing some heavy ships. I could make a lot more subs. That's not the worst plan, but I have not been upgrading my navy, like, at all. So I'm kind of inclined to think we have a sucky navy. That's what I'm inclined to think. Well, alright, we'll just go ahead and start building some. If we're not repairing anything, then by all means. British Parliament is going to intervene in Scandinavia, apparently. Good for you guys. I'm sure that'll be a load of fun. Something I realized over here, by the way, there is no port. So if we land in Iceland and do not take Reykjavik, then these troops will get stuck and die. So I should get these guys here under your leadership. Go ahead and create another naval invasion order right there. And we'll take, let's say we take half the infantry and this 40 combat width. And we'll just do a dual naval invasion. We'll have to get more zone coverage, I know, but I don't want to risk my troops getting stuck up there, you know? That would be a very bad situation for me. What are we training right now? Still working on more infantry here. I probably don't need more defensive infantry, to be honest. I think we've got enough. At least for the time being. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel these guys. Let's continue making offensive units, absolutely. I'll only do this once more. Then I want to go ahead and start training up some 40 combat widths. And this will take a while because I don't have anywhere near enough equipment for that, but that's probably fine. I'm going to do this only a couple more times and do this like once, maybe twice more, but that should be all we need. And that'll be plenty, I think. Now, granted, I've just used up all my manpower trying to train these guys, so maybe that was a bad idea. Let's reduce this a little bit. Do this a couple of times. How's that? Save a little manpower so we continue doing the garrisons so we can actually put down the resistance so I can get my manpower back. Again, we're spending manpower in the temporarily so that we can get out of the resistance, you know, kill zone and get our manpower back. Once we've got these guys down to a reasonable amount of resistance and enough compliance, I'm willing to bet that we jump back up to like 1 million manpower or something similar. Let's go ahead and research another upgrade to our armored cars. I'm not going to bother swapping you over right now since we're already working immediately on the next version. Why lose all the efficiency twice? I can afford to be patient for a little bit with 109 days. right? Probably. Do we want to upgrade the generals at all? Let's see. So you are a defensively oriented field marshal, so going for ambusher for everybody makes sense. That's all we can do with you. Charles de Gaulle, no options for you. Okay. Ambusher, sure. Should make sure I have the right generals. I don't want to accidentally assign a offensive general with defensive stats. That would be dumb. You're fine. Let's go ahead. I can do guerrilla fighter. Sure, entrenchment speed. You're fairly even. Do we have any defensive, offensive generals by accident? You're not great. Oh, you're defensive. Okay, so we should swap you around. Yeah, let's do exactly that. Give you guys a good old swapsies. Oh, you're a field marshal. Right. Well, I'll move you over here instead. How's that sound? You can get unyielding defender? Sure, 10% more defense. Okay, I mean, that uses up a lot of my command power, but I just want to make sure that we are trying to be as efficient here as possible. Infantry expert for another 10% attack. Since we have so much infantry, that seems really good. Happy to do that. What are we constructing right now? Right now, we're doing a lot of repair. We should be doing a bit more than that, though. We should go ahead and start building up things like radio towers along the Soviet Union so we can get plenty of vision. We should make sure we have really good air bases in the right place toward the front. And then we should go ahead and start building up some forts. I'm thinking at least a couple levels. I don't know how much I want to do. Like, if we build too many forts, then the Soviets aren't going to attack me. As it is right now, though, I think that I'm in a pretty good spot where just level 2 forts might be enough to cause the Soviets to waste a lot of equipment, especially if I can get some tanks up to the front line. I mean, we're not as strong as, let's say, the United States, but we're no pushover right now. France is doing pretty good. Let's go build up a Memel as well. There we go. Let's just keep our factories busy for a little bit. Give them something to do. Since I have so many of them again, now that we're not trading anymore, is amazing. I still would really, really, really like to get my war support and stuff up. In fact, if we're going to even try to go for the next level of conscription, we have to get our war support up. That's not optional. So I guess we have to do this. Let's go ahead and do some war propaganda against the Soviets. We did get some more units. Let's go ahead and move you over here. There you go. Some tanks. It's too many tanks. Hang on. We'll move you here, and we'll move one of the tanks over here, I guess? Sure. Seems reasonable enough. These guys have no front line, all of a sudden. Well, I probably want to have you sort of like this. We should make sure we are giving these guys proper planning bonuses. Basically, get around Moscow. Don't take Moscow, just get around it. And I'm even going to give my defensive units just some very generic front lines. Oh, we don't want this anymore. Hang on. Get rid of that. Very generic offensive lines so they can get some planning bonuses just in case we decide we want to have a little bit of extra pushing power. You guys are going to be basically pushing down this way. You're already fine. Green, you guys actually can probably push. Can you? No, don't push. Just hold the line then. They're not offensive units. I didn't think that they would be able to, but let's just prevent the Japanese from pushing any further and stealing my resources. Let's see. You need an offensive line. We will be pushing toward the south area of Moscow here. Green has their naval invasion. You've got yours. Need to change your color to something else. Let's go with dark blue. You've got your orders now, and purple, you've got your orders. Okay, so we're set. Oh, I just realized I am out of time for this video. Okay, so we're sitting back. We barely are keeping enough manpower to make this work. As long as we can burn the resistance down and get some more compliance, I think we're going to end up being just fine. We should start seeing our manpower return over time, and if I can start deploying more of these armored cars, of which I do have a bit more we should use, then we can make this even better. Once my manpower feels like it's in a pretty good spot, that's when we are going to go ahead and attack the Soviet Union. So thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask, very humbly, that you consider hitting that like button. It does help. Leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.
All right, let's go ahead and do it.